My husband's mother booked a couple's massage for us, but showed up to take my spot. As I stood there in shock, she smirked, "I know his body better than you ever will." My husband just chuckled, "Let her have this one." I whispered, "She can have it all." The next morning, they found my wedding ring in the trash. It was supposed to be a surprise. Our anniversary was coming up, and Daniel told me to keep the weekend free. I actually got excited. I thought, maybe he's making an effort this time. A few days before, he told me his mother, Cynthia, had arranged something special for us, a couple's massage at a high-end spa. We were sitting on the couch when he said it. Scrolling through his phone like this was totally normal. I blinked. His mother? Why would your mom be involved in our anniversary? I asked, trying to sound casual. She wanted to do something nice for us, he said. It was her idea. It didn't sit right with me. Cynthia never did anything unless there was something in it for her. But I told myself I was overthinking. I should have trusted my gut. The spa was stunning, expensive, quiet, smelled like lavender. I actually started to relax. We checked in at the front desk, and as I was about to confirm our reservation, the receptionist smiled and said, "Oh. Your other guest has already arrived. She's waiting in the lounge." I frowned. Other guest? Before I could ask, Cynthia walked in. She was wearing a plush spa robe, her hair pinned back like she owned the place. She didn't even look at me. She went straight to Daniel, smiling like a proud wife. "Oh, sweetheart," she cooed, placing a hand on his arm. "I took care of everything. You don't need to worry." Then she turned to me and smiled, a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I know his body better than you ever will," she said, voice smooth and sweet. "So, I'll be taking your spot." My heart stopped. I actually felt my brain freeze, like it couldn't process the words coming out of her mouth. I expected Daniel to say something. Anything. Instead, he chuckled. Chuckled. Like this was funny. Like it was some kind of joke. "Let her have this one," he murmured, looking at me like I was being unreasonable. I felt like I was outside of my own body, watching this scene unfold like it was happening to someone else. Cynthia just smiled. Smug. Triumphant. Something inside me shifted. I whispered, "She can have it all." Then I turned around and walked out. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I went home, packed a bag, and thought. 5 years. 5 years of her inserting herself into every decision, every argument, every moment that should have been about us. 5 years of her calling me that woman instead of my name. 5 years of Daniel never setting boundaries. 5 years of knowing, deep down, that I would always come second. I wasn't angry. I was done. The next morning, I took off my wedding ring and threw it in the trash. Daniel found it before he even got his coffee. He picked it up, confused, turning it over in his hand. "Babe?" I was zipping up my suitcase. He looked between me and the bag, still holding the ring. "What are you doing?" "Leaving." His face scrunched like a child about to throw a tantrum. "Leaving? Because of yesterday? That's ridiculous." I laughed. A real laugh. One that felt lighter than anything I'd felt in years. "This isn't about yesterday," I said. Yesterday was just proof of what I already knew. Cynthia stormed in, because of course she did. She took one look at my packed bags and gasped like I had just murdered someone in the living room. "Excuse me?" she shrieked. I turned to her, smiling. "You wanted him? You got him." She looked at Daniel like she expected him to fix it. But for once, he was silent. I grabbed my bag and walked past both of them. But I wasn't just leaving. I was about to take everything. Daniel was lazy with money. He made good money but never managed it. Cynthia always helped him with bills. Not because he needed it, but because it gave her control. What neither of them realized. I had control, too. See, Daniel had added my name to their joint account when we got married. He never thought twice about it. He just wanted me to help manage things while he let Cynthia make all the decisions. Which meant I had full access. And full access meant I could drain it. And that's exactly what I did. Daniel and Cynthia were obsessed with appearances. They had a huge house, way too huge for 2 people. Here's the thing. The house was in both of their names. And Daniel had been using my credit to keep up with payments when Cynthia fell short. Which meant I had proof that I had been paying for a house I didn't even live in anymore. So, I called the bank. And I foreclosed it. Cynthia loved her car. A brand new luxury SUV. Paid for by Daniel. Except, technically, paid for by me. It was in my name. So I called the dealership. And I had it repossessed. The calls started that night. First Daniel. Then Cynthia. Then Daniel again. 12 calls. Then a text. What did you do? Cynthia is freaking out. The house, I didn't respond. The next morning? Another text. Are you serious? My mom is in tears. I can't believe you would do this. I stared at my phone and laughed. Because there it was. Not a single question about me. Just his mother. I turned off my phone. Let them figure it out. For the first time in years, I woke up without a pit in my stomach. No more forced smiles, no more pretending Cynthia didn't make my skin crawl, no more waiting for Daniel to grow a backbone. I checked my phone. 26 missed calls. Half from Daniel. Half from Cynthia. I smiled, stretched, and ignored them. I was finally free. Or so I thought. That afternoon, I was packing up the last of my things from our shared apartment when I heard a loud bang at the front door. Then another. Then screaming. I didn't even have to look. Cynthia. I took a slow sip of my iced coffee before opening the door. And there she was, hair a mess, mascara running, rage practically oozing out of her pores. Behind her, Daniel stood awkwardly, like he wasn't sure if he was here to yell at me or beg me to come back. You ruined our lives. Cynthia shrieked, stepping forward like she was about to lunge. I raised an eyebrow. Did I? Daniel groaned. Just let us talk. Us. There it was again. He didn't say can we talk or I want to fix this. He said us. Like he and his mother were a package deal. Like she would always come first. I leaned against the doorframe, making a show of taking another sip of my drink. What exactly do you want to talk about? Daniel's jaw clenched. The house, the bank accounts, the car, I cut in. So, not me? His nostrils flared. Cynthia shoved past him. You stole from us. That money wasn't yours. I let out a small laugh. You mean the money from the account that had my name on it? Or the house that was being paid for with my credit? Her face twisted. You ungrateful little, I held up a hand. Save it. If you're here to throw a tantrum, I really don't have time. She screeched. Like, actually screeched. Daniel reached for my arm, his grip firm. You need to fix this. I jerked away. Fix what? I said, voice sharp. The fact that you have nothing left because you let your mother ruin our marriage? That's not my problem. His hands clenched at his sides. You're being petty. I laughed. Petty? I repeated. Your mother stole my anniversary gift, rubbed it in my face, and you laughed. You let her destroy our marriage. You let her control your life. You let her take everything from me. I smiled coldly. So now, I just returned the favor. Cynthia lost it. She lunged, actually lunged, like she was about to grab me by the hair. And that's when I saw the building manager standing at the end of the hall, eyes wide, phone in hand. Cynthia stopped just in time. I tilted my head. Go ahead, I whispered, just loud enough for her to hear. Give me a reason to have you arrested. She was seething, her hands clenched into fists. Daniel grabbed her arm and pulled her back. Let's go, he muttered. She glared at me one last time, eyes burning with hatred, before storming down the hall. Daniel hesitated. I could tell he wanted to say something. Something to reel me back in. Instead, he looked down. Shook his head. And followed his mother. I shut the door. And exhaled. I thought that was the last of it. I was wrong. I spent the next few weeks settling into my new place, enjoying the peace, ignoring Daniel's increasingly desperate texts. Then I got a call from my lawyer. And what he said made my stomach drop. Daniel and Cynthia were suing me. For theft. Apparently, they had twisted the story into some ridiculous claim that I had fraudulently taken money that belonged to the family. I laughed out loud when I heard that. I had receipts. I had bank statements, loan documents, proof that I had been the one paying off their debts while they lived off my money. I wasn't worried. Until my lawyer said the next part. Cynthia also filed a police report. I sat up straight. For what? She's claiming you stole her car. My blood ran cold. I had legally repossessed that car. It had been in my name. But Cynthia? She had money. Not a lot, thanks to me, but enough to drag this out in court. Enough to make my life a nightmare if she wanted to. And she did. She wanted war. I knew Cynthia. I knew her games. She wasn't just trying to get back at me. She was trying to break me. To make me come crawling back, to make me pay for leaving. But what she didn't know. I had one last card to play. I just had to wait for the right moment. And when it came, I was going to end this for good. I wasn't scared. Annoyed? Yes. Furious? Absolutely. But Cynthia had made a mistake. She thought she could bully me into submission. She thought she could take me to court, ruin my life, and somehow, I'd come crawling back. Broke, desperate, begging Daniel for forgiveness. She had no idea who she was messing with. But first, I needed information. So, I started digging. I reached out to an old friend of Daniel's, Mark, who used to handle some of their financial work. We had never been particularly close, but after hearing about my divorce, Mark had sent me a simple text, "Call me. You need to know some things." I called. And what he told me blew my mind. Turns out, Cynthia was in serious debt. Not just a little credit card trouble kind of debt. Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth. Apparently, she had been taking out loans in Daniel's name for years. And Daniel? He had no idea. Mark had tried to warn him before, but Cynthia always intercepted. She managed everything, his bills, his credit, his mortgage payments. Daniel never questioned it. She had full control over his accounts. And she had been bleeding him dry. The best part? All that fraud? It was well documented. Mark still had records. Emails, signed forms, even some shady loan agreements that had Cynthia's name all over them. I felt a slow, satisfied smile spread across my face. She wanted a war? She had just given me a nuclear bomb. I could have gone straight to the police. I could have sent every document to the authorities and let them deal with it. But that would have been too easy. No, I needed Cynthia to suffer first. So, I did something cruel. I sent the documents to Daniel. Every screenshot. Every loan agreement. Every hidden debt in his name. And then, I waited. Less than 30 minutes later, my phone rang. It was Daniel. I let it go to voicemail. Then, I listened. His voice was shaking. "Tell me this isn't real." I smirked. I didn't respond. Because I knew exactly what was about to happen. Cynthia had ruined him. And for the first time, Daniel was finally about to see it. The next morning, I woke up to a flood of messages. From Daniel. From Mark. Even from some of Cynthia's other victims. But the most interesting one? A news article. The headline? Local businesswoman under investigation for fraudulent loans. I nearly spit out my coffee. It was happening faster than I expected. Someone, probably Mark, had tipped off the local news, and now Cynthia's financial crimes were public. I scrolled through the article. Mentions of embezzlement, forgery, tax fraud. And my favorite part? Daniel's name was all over it. My phone buzzed again. It was Daniel. I picked up this time. His voice was hollow. "She's ruined me," he whispered. I almost felt bad. Almost. "She's your mother, Daniel," I said. "You always let her have her way." Silence. Then, softly, "What do I do?" I leaned back, smiling. "Figure it out," I said. Then, I hung up. I knew Cynthia wouldn't go down quietly. I expected more lawsuits, more threats, more public meltdowns. What I didn't expect? For Daniel to finally grow a spine. He flipped on her. Filed his own lawsuit against Cynthia for fraud and identity theft. And because he was the primary victim, the police actually took it seriously. It wasn't just a scandal anymore. It was a criminal investigation. Cynthia tried everything. Lying. Manipulating. Even crying on live TV, claiming she was a victim of a greedy, bitter ex-wife trying to ruin their family. Nobody bought it. Because the receipts? They were right there. Her loans? Illegal. Her assets? Frozen. Her reputation? Destroyed. And the final cherry on top? Daniel cut her off. For good. The last time I heard Cynthia's voice, it wasn't in person. It was on a voicemail. One last desperate attempt to guilt me back into her mess. You think you won? You think you're better than me? I smiled. Then, I deleted the message. Because I had already won. And Cynthia? She had nothing left to take. I thought I was done. I really did. Daniel had turned against Cynthia. Her fraud was public knowledge. The lawsuits were piling up. She should have been too busy scrambling to save herself to bother with me. But Cynthia wasn't the kind of woman to go down quietly. She was the kind of woman who, when drowning, tried to take everyone else down with her. And this time? She had one last stunt to pull. I was at a cafe when it happened. Sitting by the window, enjoying my coffee, scrolling through my phone, relishing my peace. Then, a shadow fell over my table. I looked up. And there she was. Cynthia. Unhinged. Her usual polished look? Gone. Hair frizzy, makeup smudged, rage in her eyes. The entire cafe went silent as she slammed her hands down on my table. You think you've won? She hissed. I set my coffee down slowly. Won what? I asked, voice calm. She let out a humorless laugh. You destroyed my life, she spat. You turned my own son against me. You stole from me. I tilted my head. I stole from you? I leaned back. Tell me, Cynthia, do you even know how much money you stole from Daniel? Her face twisted. He owed me. After everything I did for him, I laughed. A sharp, cold laugh that made her flinch. Owed you? You drained his accounts. You took out loans in his name. You ruined him. Cynthia slammed her hand against my cup, knocking it over. Coffee splattered across the table, dripping onto the floor. People were watching now. Whispering. Pulling out their phones. But Cynthia didn't care. She was too far gone. I gave him everything, she shrieked. And you took him from me. You turned him against me. You made him think I was the villain. I stared at her. Really looked at her. And suddenly, it hit me. She didn't just want control. She didn't just want me gone. She wanted to be the only person in Daniel's life. She didn't see me as a rival. She saw me as a thief. I had stolen her son. And now, she had nothing left. Her empire? Gone. Her money? Gone. Her son? Gone. And she had no one to blame but herself. You did this to yourself, Cynthia, I said quietly. Her nostrils flared. I was a good mother, she snapped. I shook my head. You weren't a mother, I said. You were a dictator. Her face turned red. I hope you rot in hell, she screamed. Then, she lunged. The cafe erupted. Chairs screeched, people gasped, someone yelled, call the cops. But before she could reach me, someone grabbed her. Daniel. He had been there the whole time. For a second, no one moved. Daniel's grip on her arms was tight. Cynthia was panting, eyes wild, chest heaving. She turned her head and looked at him. Let me go, she whispered. Daniel didn't. Mom, he said, voice shaking. Enough. She stilled. Like she couldn't believe he was really stopping her. Daniel, she pleaded. But he shook his head. You've done enough damage, he said, voice cracking. Her lips trembled. I did everything for you. Daniel exhaled sharply, like he had been holding his breath for years. You did everything for yourself, he said. Cynthia let out a broken sound. Like a wounded animal. Her last card had been played. And she had lost. Daniel looked at me. His face was haunted. I'm sorry, he whispered. And for the first time, I believed him. But it didn't matter. Because it was too late. The cops arrived minutes later. They didn't arrest Cynthia. But they did escort her out. Daniel left without another word. I sat there for a long time, staring at the spilled coffee, listening to the murmurs around me. Then, I picked up my phone. I blocked Daniel's number. And Cynthia's. And then? I walked out. For good. A year later, Cynthia was bankrupt. Her fraud cases ruined her reputation. Daniel? He tried to reach out. An email. A short one. I miss you. Can we talk? I didn't reply. Instead, I deleted it. Because for the first time in 5 years, I was free. And I had nothing left to say.